season is the fact that they keep inverting fairy tale tropes and turning them into vicious monsters.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's pretty good.
I mean, it's the Cabin in the Woods thing.
Yeah, kind of. It's
I will just come out and say, like, I'm not as... I think we had a similar problem with Malice last year, where, like, and then it just got better. But I'm getting similar vibes, where it's like, I don't know if I'm really into this so far, but Constantine's fun.
See, I don't even have a feel for the overarching narrative that they're trying to do. I'm just like enjoying it episode by episode.
Yeah, but it just seems very like, I don't know, it seems the overall arc feels very underwhelming, but all these people are so good together it doesn't really matter.
I'm just glad that Mick feels the same way I do about dragons.
I want dragon.
That's all I'm glad about.
So hi, I'm kind of everybody.
Will there be vampires?
1 through 3 of Legends of Tomorrow. We're doing CW stuff a little differently now. Basically, we've come to the conclusion that trying to blast through all of these shows and then talk about 4 to 5 episodes of TV per episode is exhausting and no longer fun.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Especially if one of the shows is getting pretty bad. Waiting for Flash to drop the ball.
Yeah, so like, if there are 3 episodes of any of these shows where we're like, fuck this, we're just not going to talk about it. So yeah. And
it also gives us more time to do other stuff, including watching TV on our own free time that has nothing to do with this for show or podcast.
Yeah.
Or letting me sleep.
I still haven't started Haunting on Hill House.
Oh man.
You should probably do that.
Yeah.
I keep calling that show different names because it's not my it's okay. Look, like, don't name it such that like it's easy to confuse with other.
It's based on but there's like 18 different movies where
and it's supposedly like it's kind of like a sequel to The Haunting as far as just like presentation goes, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess my understanding is that it's about side characters or like characters who were talked about in the book, I guess, but they aren't in the book necessarily. So yeah, that's my but yeah, no. But that's the thing. Haunting a Hill House. That's the title it originally had, and they kind of get. I think that they have a stake to that claim.
Yeah, when you told me
they're the original landowners.
Because House on Haunted Hill came out like the same year, didn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Very close. Close enough that they were like, we're just going to call this The Haunting because people are going to think that they're getting Vincent Price.
Because why get into that argument? Yeah. So who else is here?
Arlen Harrow, as usual.
I am perpetually confused. Hunter Davenport.
I'm Holland.
I'm Erik Fedorchuk.
No opening. Oh,
I don't have any.
He's doing a.
I haven't said it in the show yet, but I think the Loud Dimension might be my favorite creation of yours so far because it sounds like some fucking Rick and Morty-esque thing or like something really ridiculous. Like, I'm just imagining like a portal opens up and everyone's like, "Hi, how are you? Welcome."
See, I just like the fact that it exists pretty much only in text at this point, so it's even more absurd.
And they're always talking like it's always theatrical. The Loud Dimension speaks.
Yes.
Like they're a collective. Like,
the Loud Dimension sends its messenger.
Yeah, it's the
Loud Council
the Loud
has
Dimension.
communed.
Exactly. And they called somebody a pussy yesterday. So
we are the 12 angry men. But anyway, Legend of Tomorrow is back, and it's kind of actually like playing right off of last season. Right how it ends. John Constantine came back at the end and dropped a fucking dragon head on the ground and was like, "Look what your cunts did." He didn't say that, but he might as well have.
Yeah. Yeah, they skirted as best they can. I wonder if he's going to drop the word quit at all at some point.
Matt Ryan is so fucking British. Like, it really sounds like sometimes he is just like biting his lip to hold back fucks and cunts.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when I first saw him on the Constantine TV show, I was like, I don't know. But I really like his version of Constantine on the show. Like on Legends, it works really well.
He supplanted whatever was in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I, like, when I was reading comics, I can't even remember the voice that I would say, that's Constantine, because he replaced whoever that was. I've just completely forgotten. So, yeah.
Well, and it's being that Constantine was originally based on Sting, so there you go. Think about it that way.
Well, I just went off of the Liverpool thing. I can't remember who I picked as a Liverpool person to be Constantine in my head, but it was somebody who we would all know. I don't think it was the Beatles. I'm pretty sure it was the Beatles.
I've actually never seen the Keanu Reeves Constantine movie all the way through. I've seen like the end on Sci-Fi a few times.
It's actually really good.
So he's not even like a frame of reference for me for Constantine.
Yeah, no, it's... I mean, not that you even know really anything about Hellblazer, the comic, really, as far as I know. But it's... The way I've always looked at it is just divorce any love, if you have any love for the comic, from that movie, and it's actually quite good.
Okay.
In my head, in a world where Constantine is the only character that exists, he's the Earth 2 Constantine.
Well, actually... In the comics,
that's how I rationalize
there was I forget which one, but there was a point where he had mentioned there was some bloke in LA who said who was going around using my name, but I don't know who that is.
Oh, I do remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
I have also read that people are theorizing this may pick up where his TV show left off and include some loose plot threads that never got resolved.
I guess.
But then other people are kind of wondering if they're even allowed to do that.
I mean, they would be, because that show was produced by WB Television.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, because brief little explainer: television shows are never just produced by the network that airs them; they're also produced by another company. So usually, unless
Warner Brothers produces Gotham, but Fox is running it.
The show House was an NBC show.
I wish I could blame Fox for that show, really, but I can't. We kind of it's just less me to be angry at Warner Brothers for.
Well,
it doesn't have the right.
We can blame them for continuing to air it. But yeah. Where were we?
Legends are back, and everything's violent.
Yes.
Shocking.
Very much so.
It's
Sorry, stuck around. Gary is seemingly now a series regular. Ava is a series regular. So the revolving door seems to be continuing. I watched episode 1 2 weeks ago, so the details are fuzzy. I know they go to Woodstock, and then a unicorn shows up, and it impales the fuck out of some woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, before that, there's the body up in the tree that's leaking rainbow-colored goo.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
That's right. I think the setup is they fixed all the aberrations they caused. So they just have... I think they're looking for one, and they all end up at Woodstock. Because apparently the timeline got changed to include, 35 people are killed, which causes a stampede, and then, hundreds of others die or get injured.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the premise they're going with, is there's slight aberrations and then there's magic involved with them. So that's their explanation for why things are screwy this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, I had to read something there real fast. I don't remember too much about episode 1 because, like I said, it was 2 weeks ago. But I do remember liking it.
Yeah.
It's a very good episode. I remember going into it being Supernatural did unicorns years ago, so this will never hold up to that.
Yeah.
But I think, again, we were talking before the show about reusing CG models. I think they might have reused footage from the unicorn in that show, just a little bit.
Just with how I see how they just keep going back to the Smallville well, it doesn't surprise me that CG was just look, we got a bag of tricks and we're gonna stick to it.
Yep.
Right.
We don't have the money.
We have these CG models. Yeah. We have them. We will use them again and again.
Actors we can just go pillage from that show.
Exactly.
Spend all the money on Supergirl's wigs.
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but definitely can tell that CW took a few hints from Doctor Strange with the movements that John is doing when he's opening up the Hell portal.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's like, wow.
I'm just imagining him going like, "You'll see our will is equal to yours."
Yeah.
The fucking unicorns like, our.
Like, I'm not complaining because I'm really enjoying John as a regular character on the season so far. I mean, I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do with his, I guess, A story, because I don't really know what the A story is at this point.
Okay, that's interesting because I have some ideas, but it's all based off of Justice League Dark.
Okay.
And the little bit of the New 52 Constantine that I read, and neither of those two things that could be setting up are interesting to me. So I'm curious to see what they're doing. Because it could be Nick Necro, who's supposed to be like John's mentor.
His name is Nick Necro?
Nick Necro,
is
yes. Or
something
like
fucking
that.
90s pro wrestler?
Yeah, he might as well be. He's a New 52 character, so what are you going to do?
Metal singer.
Yeah, sounds like the front man for a metal band.
Yeah, definitely a new metal band to be particular.
Well, there was a horrorcore rapper whose name was Necro.
Yeah, horrorcore rap, the pinnacle of hip hop.
Yeah, well, he was really kind of a shitbag. Anyways,
but yeah, he was like their Mordo, or not Mordo.
Baron Mordo.
From Doctor Strange. Like he was that. He was the guy who taught John everything and taught Zatanna quite a bit of stuff too.
Okay.
And they have like a loose polyamorous relationship, which is interesting. And then there's a book in the New 52 where John is haunted by a ghost who's eating the other ghosts that haunt John. American Werewolf style, because that's a thing that they did. Where just all the ghosts that have ever been caused by him follow him around. I guess.
that's been a running thing since his original series in Hellblazer.
I did not know that. But yeah, one of them just starts eating other ghosts.
Okay.
Apparently.
Oh God.
And it's really interesting, and it could be handled well on this. But both things could be set up by what they're doing so far. I'm coming to get you, John, or whatever those messages are. But both things could be possible.
The one thing that I thought would be an outside possibility would be that I'm having a hard time remembering the name of the demon it was. I think it was Negrin, or Necron, something along those lines.
Negron.
What's that?
Negron, right?
It was Negron, yeah. In like one of the very first storylines from the Hellblazer comic, he was injected with his blood to help him heal, and that kind of helped him get further along in the world of the occult for a long time. I forget exactly what happened, how he ended up getting rid of that blood from his system, but I know he had some double crossings with him and whatnot, so I'm wondering if that could possibly be what they're going for, but that would require so much backstory to actually do properly, so I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I also like that Legends has become that show where they send characters off who have gotten kind of the short end of the stick. And they get one more chance to go be something relevant before either deciding to use them again, or in Wally's case, where although that was mutual, he decided he wanted to go do other stuff. But like Wally was effectively written out, and they don't have a use for him right now.
Yeah. He was given a satisfying solo thing to do, and they seem to be doing a similar thing with John. And I think the overall Legend subplot is kind of going to the back. I think John is kind of the front of this season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything.
The third episode really shows that
everything is peachy keen with the Time Bureau at this point. So it's just the foibles of Gary and oh god, what's his fucking face? Can't remember. Metal guy. Shit.
Yeah.
Nate. Thank you, Nate. Yeah.
Fucking Biff is Nate's dad.
That
so
answers so many questions on why he turned into the porn Porky's dude in the last season.
Yes, it did. Yes, it answered quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It was perfect.
I'm 40 years old. That was a reference to The Heat, which if you haven't seen it, watch that. Yeah, but he's really entertaining as Nate's dad.
Because he's still such a fucking asshole. He's repugnant, unlikable immediately.
Yeah.
And from everything I've heard, that actor is actually a really great guy and super sweet outside of...
yeah. I feel like that's like with most people who get typecast as dickheads. Like the guy who plays Walter Peck from Ghostbusters, he said he had for years people just came up to him and was just like, they called him Dickless.
Oh God.
Yeah. So Dickless, he's like, well, I didn't do anything to you.
Well, yeah, the actor who played Biff, like he'd had a resurgence for a bit where he was doing touring with comedy and whatnot, and apparently he had a song where he just answered everyone's questions about Back to the Future, which I think is pretty great way to combine your show and also then just answer all the burning questions that the audience has.
But yeah, the exchange where was it Nate and Mick quote unquote break into Nate's house, and fucking Mick, I'm sorry, there's no character on the show who has been as like wonderfully fleshed out as Mick, because every season he gets some new weird wrinkle that makes him a very strange man. Like he pocketed the fucking garden gnome for reasons.
Yeah, he's very Yondu-esque in the best possible way. Yeah. God, it's so good. And like, there's this moment in the third episode where where they're talking about why he doesn't like people wearing ties, and he's like, it's like a flag that shows that you can't be trusted.
I don't know. I guarantee the garden gnome will come into play later on in the season.
Oh, I'm sure it will, since they made an entire gag out of Mick's dead rat as well.
Oh God, yeah. Right.
Oh God, yeah, that was...
Emmett! I miss you, Emmett! So the long and short of this episode is basically the fucking... In releasing Malice, they let out all the other magical entities
right.
It might seem the summer good, and so far, not really.
No. No, none of them have really been very good choices. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what else do we really want to say about the first episode? Because, I mean, it sounds like we're all a little bit fuzzy on it.
Well, I think it's harder because something I'm noticing with all the shows is they're kind of taking our advice of being a little bit less episodic and being a little bit more serialized.
It's almost like they listen.
Yeah, it's almost like there's some intern in the CW offices who listens to our show and makes notes about it.
They have to...
Because it's eerie sometimes.
It also feels the same way I do about dragons.
They're gonna hear this, and like outside of one of our houses, like a van is gonna get off, like to be replaced by another one.
I guarantee there is probably an intern working at CW who has to listen to every podcast that has any mention of any of the CW verse shows on it. So they're just 8 hours a day, just podcasts.
Considering a friend of mine...
Well, imagine the person that has to listen to it about all CW shows, though. That person has a very...
a friend of mine interned at Sony after film school, and like his job during the Amazing Spider-Man 2 production was to just go get comic book pages that they could just like siphon material from.
Jesus Christ.
And he said one of the things he did a lot of was getting Mary Jane material.
And then EVR Rod would just pick it up and then throw it away. Because...
And just burn it. Burn it.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Episode 2 and 3 I blasted through today. And I think it's because I'm not really either getting whatever the central arc is yet, or just haven't really set one up. But they too were kind of hazy, and I'm just kind of... I think we had a similar issue last season where we're like, when is this gonna get as great as last season was?
Yeah, I feel that as well. I think it's building a lot, and I think they're kind of focusing more on individual arcs a lot this season. And there might not be like that big, there's a mystery or there's a big bad, like, which I'm kind of okay with if they handle it well.
100% okay with that.
Yeah. If it's sort of just like personal arcs that sort of all they all converge in some way.
Yeah.
that could be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not really into Nate moving into an office position over at the Time Bureau. The Time Bureau seems like a weird thing to keep around. It's like, are they on the payroll? Like, how does this function? Are they recognized by the government? Like, are they a secret organization?
It seems like they are, which is interesting.
Because they have like a campus. Like,
right. Well, and I thought the idea was that they were like hidden in between other bills. Like, they're supposed to not really be known by a lot of people.
Like, what's that? So, that's a Time Bureau. Yeah, it's right there next to community college.
Even though they have somebody coming to deliver lunch to them on a regular basis, and then they're also relying on people like Nate's dad to come and give them money to continue to function.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't really understand how the Time Bureau works, but whatever, maybe that's not for you or I to actually understand.
We also are perpetually confused about how Star Labs is A, still open, B, why the hole hasn't been fixed, which apparently in the Flash Museum episode, that shit gets fixed at some point.
Well, it's very far in the future.
I want to see it happen. And that Star Labs just has like 3 to 4 rooms, and everyone stays there all day, and no one ever goes to work.
Right.
And the room where Joe naps.
I was telling Arlen that guy did have some sort of injury and going to be off the show for a bit.
Yeah. No discernible time period on when he'll be back.
No Daddy Joe, and that really upsets me.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're going to put him in a wheelchair, and then another actor will play him for a while.
He comes in back
Smallville.
No. No. Oh no.
Oh my.
Oh, maybe that's what they'll do. They'll pull his chair out of the ocean and put him back into it.
That's still funny to me. Splash. You're just in a paralyzed man. It's the ocean.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm the Flash.
Flash is like, that's bad. You know how many people I've gotten killed?
Do you see the woman I'm married to?
Have you seen the wall of the police station? Man, Eddie's right in the middle.
But episode 2 of Legends. So they went back to Pilgrim Times, and I give them credit for the production value that they put into having a Disney-esque fairy godmother singing and how excited Ray was about, like, wait, is that music? That's just...
it's so good, and the music's just, it's one step away from being copyright infringement. Just like it's really good.
That's the best kind of imitation, when you're clearly not trying to do anything special. You're like, no, this is exactly what we're trying to invoke, and we're trying to be ironic.
And it works perfectly.
Yeah,
it does.
This show is easily the funniest of the bunch of them. It's just far and away.
Well, I feel like they know they have the least amount of pressure on them, I guess, for lack of a better idea. Like it feels like they just have a lot more leeway to do what they want with the show than any of the other ones.
Well, they're also not trying to they're not, these characters, while from comics, are not beholden to a comic called Legends of Tomorrow, so they don't have to really kind of like, there won't be a Flashpoint in this show, there won't be a Supermax in this show, they're not going to do the Once and Future Flash storyline. Like, that stuff's not going to happen. It's going to be all stuff they come. It's a Doctor Who ripoff at this point, but it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a Doctor Who ripoff that has fucking people getting impaled by unicorns.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Vivo.
And having their eyes pecked out by crows.
Good God, that was startling.
that was shocking a little bit.
Burrowed its way into that guy's face.
It was great.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you send that crow to peck people's eyes out? I'm like, he took off like the top half of his skull. Like, it's not just pecking your eyes out. Like, that crow is like, I'm gonna live inside your face.
Well, that was something else that I was I'm wondering why they chose to have her medallion melted down in that fire. So now she's just got the rock that she holds. I mean, I guess they wanted to give her a cooler hand pose. Zari. They wanted to give her a cooler hand pose when she uses her powers.
Yeah, and they wanted to give her that little watch. Remember that little?
Oh yeah.
Armband.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
For as much as I hated Zari when she first rolled around, I'm so glad she stuck around.
Yeah. No, I really like her character now. Like,
Yeah, she's
that
great.
that one episode from last season where they focused on her having Groundhog Day going on. Like, that was the one that sold me on her.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great episode, and she's really strong this season so far. And again, I really do think they're focusing on personal arcs, because her arc this season so far seems to be about her not being able to fix the stuff with her parents, and just her family and stuff in general, and how she relates to other people who have similar issues. That scene with her and John where he's like, "Are you gonna give me your sob story or whatever?" And she's like, "I wouldn't do that. That would be lame," which is just perfect. It fits the version of the character that they've established so far.
Yeah,
and it's a really well done scene, also.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with any of that. Like, she is becoming a standout favorite. Like, everybody else is great, but like the fact that she hasn't been around that long, but she's standing toe to toe with everybody else is a very good sign.
Well, I feel like they've done a really good job of kind of incorporate, like, everyone. I feel like if anyone has a rough time getting introduced, they usually gel pretty quickly. Zari's just character and personality were just so abrasive at first. It was like, can you please leave? And then when they teased her death so hard and then backed off, I was like, wow, I'm actually relieved.
Yeah,
you taught me a lesson.
Yeah, well, that, and she also revealed a whole lot of great things about Mick in that episode. So yeah, his erotic sci-fi writing.
Yeah.
So good. Oh God. We still need the Mick show. We need it so badly.
Even if it was just 6 episodes.
Yeah.
It's like just a miniseries.
Yeah, and John shows up occasionally, and it's,
I want to be Mick, but he's like, it's his everyday life. More like the grocery store.
It's like different cuts of him doing different things at the grocery store. He's doing the Mr. Burns thing. He's like, ketchup or ketchup. I don't know the difference.
He's mostly buying things though in order to make fire. Like he's buying propane tanks and charcoal and kerosene.
I wouldn't mind seeing him do kind of a snark kind of thing and show up on like Flash every once in a while.
That'd be great. Yeah. I think there should be a little bit more crossover like that occasionally.
Yeah.
He'd work really well on Arrow, I think. Actually.
Oh
yeah. Well, and it would be nice to see him in a more serious role. I mean, obviously still playing Mick, but being more serious, because I mean, we know he can do it because we all saw him Blade 3. So
nice shirt.
Blade, come to die. I can't wait till we do that as a special. Look for that in 15 years. Yeah. Do we want to go to the next one, or is there anything else?
Sure. I feel like these first 3 episodes were good, but I mean, lukewarm developments are kind of preventing us from being like crazy excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, I guess so. The stuff that they do with religion and Salem and like, why don't you just run away, and vengeance and stuff. That was really well done. So like, there's not. It's good. It's really. There's not much else to say.
I don't think they've ever really goofed in that department when they do it. When they focus on like the historical drama, like God
or a theme even.
Jax being like basically present while slaves were being tortured and murdered. I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and the contrast between him and Zari?
Amaya.
Yeah. Amaya.
He was emotional and wanted to help them out, and Amaya was like, you can't just go around just like, she's like, you can't fuck time. She's like, you have to, have some level of responsibility.
Yeah, and he was like, you're African, why don't you want to help? But yeah, it was very well done, well handled. And they did a very similar thing with this, I think. And I thought the woman who played the mother, who was going to be hung, I thought she was really good, really talented.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have a ton of screen time, but when she was on there, she was actually quite good.
Yeah.
Episode 3.
It's a very good episode. Yeah. Episode 3, the punk episode with Rage.
Oh boy.
I was actually kind of shocked they had it wasn't a cover, it was the actual Sex Pistols version of Anarchy in the UK playing in the beginning.
I heard that because I know him more from Public Image, and I'm less familiar with Sex Pistols. But as soon as I heard that voice, I was like, good on you guys for not getting a karaoke version or something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, or some garbage song that sounds similar but isn't actually a real song. It was one you just created quickly for the episode.
Yeah. But they didn't.
Looking at you, Black Lightning.
Yeah, they didn't do that with Return of the Mac. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I think their music has always been very good.
I feel like they spent a lot of their money on music in this episode, though.
Well, I don't know who has the music rights to any of that stuff, though. Too, it might all be on the Warner Brothers catalog. So who knows?
I know it is. It is like a big publishing house that like extorts people for music licensing. So
that would make sense.
Yeah. But yeah, and then they had a couple other drops, and I wasn't sure if any of those were bigger songs.
The point where they're escaping with the corgi, like I was trying to pay attention to figure out who that was, but I have no idea. Like pre like a certain year or two in the 80s, I'm not really sure about a lot of punk stuff because a lot of it sounds the same.
Eric really needed to whisper that.
There's very specific punk bands that I like, and after that, it's like I don't know who the fuck that is. Okay, there.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's fair though.
What's that, Hunter?
It's usually just a dude yelling into a microphone really loudly.
Yeah, it's just I don't like that aggression and speed, which is why I said I'm kind of more into Public Image Limited, which is his other project.
Yeah, which is phenomenal stuff. No, I mean, like, it was Dead Kennedys and Minor Threat and stuff like that for me. That was when I really blossomed with punk. So I obviously had to go back and listen to some of the other stuff. Be like, oh, I should listen to stuff like Sham 69 and whatnot. But maybe it's just British punk I'm not into.
Maybe it's that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dare to be British.
I don't know.
So the plot of this is like they go to like punk music era London. Yeah,
1977.
And they track down like a shapeshifter or something.
Yeah. She's
At first, didn't they think it was a leprechaun of some sort? Because
they did, and then and they spilled that rice, and he was like, "Are you trying to do the leprechaun test on me?"
Yeah, and it just happens to be the guy who's supposed to be Irish, even though he actually isn't.
I just like the
yes.
Oh boy, man, some of those accents were killing me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're all trying a little too hard, or maybe you are just that Irish. I don't know.
It's
You can tell when someone has a fake Scottish accent. You can understand all the words coming out of their mouth.
Exactly.
Right.
And maybe that guy actually was that Irish. I think I heard he was eating potatoes like apples outside of the set. So.
Oh my god! Wow. Like I'm substantially Irish, and ouch, my people. Like, God. Also, like,
don't joke about
biting
this.
into a potato like an apple. Like,
yeah,
because I love potatoes, but like, please do something with it. Don't just hand me a potato.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, raw potatoes. No.
I was
thanks.
reading something earlier, and someone said the words "eating a raw onion like an apple," and I was like, "No."
Okay, fun story. Nothing to do with Legends, because obviously we all liked it, so we're having a hard time really talking about the episode. My uncle was a colonel in the Air Force, and one of the things he told me about that when he was in training, once he was starting to get higher up there in the in officer training classes or whatever classes, Jesus, I know nothing about the military. Regardless.
Clearly.
He was telling me about how during some of his training, at one point he was dropped out of a plane at night over a forest with a pack that had an onion, a survival knife, and I forget what other 2 or 3 things, but basically he had to make his way to a designated area within like 5 or 6 days.
Oh my god, what is this, Battle Royale?
And hey man, apparently once you get higher up there, you have to start doing some crazy things.
Let me make a more contemporary reference. Oh my god, is this like PUBG?
Ugh.
No. That's just the plot. That's just the opening scene to Metal Gear Solid 3.
But the one thing I will remember for the rest of my life is he was saying, like, by like the second or third day, he hadn't had any luck capturing any game or anything, so he was eating the onions he had like apples.
Really funny to me about just like biting into an onion.
I just
and just resigning to that, just being like, well, I don't have a fucking choice. Munch.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this episode had Nate and Gary buddy up, it seems. And they had some very isolation shenanigans at the Time Bureau office. That didn't really thrill me, but cool.
I feel like they're struggling with what to do with Nate at this point, because I don't understand the storyline.
I don't know. Like, if the point is to have him meet Zari or not Zari, Amaya next episode. I don't know why I keep on confusing those names. But meet not Amaya next episode. I don't see the point of that, I guess.
It also seems odd that they would decide to take the shape changer and make her stay in that shape.
Yeah, it's kind of a dick move by Constantine. Like, and I get it, he is a bit of a dick, but like, dude.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird choice.
Couldn't you let her pick a neutral form?
Yeah, exactly.
And I am hoping this ends the Nate and Amaya stuff, because I feel like it's lingering.
Yeah, like, him being a little bit broken up. I'm gonna fucking murder somebody.
He keeps promising.
But him being a little bit broken up, that's fine, it's acceptable. He shouldn't, as I've said on many other shows, he shouldn't heal in real time. So yeah, like I get that, but at this point it's like, okay, can we get past this? We get it, people break up. The first season of Legends, I think they handled breakups better. Surprisingly. Oof. Yeah,
and then had an insufferable romantic angle.
Yeah,
that was the thing though. Like the way they had Nate and Amaya break up, like it seemed to be kind of all right, we're doing this for the better of everything, and they seemed okay with it. And now it's kind of going back to Nate being this puppy dog lovelord, blah blah blah. Like not that heavy, but still, it's like the way you guys ended it was pretty good last season, so why are we still dealing with this?
Yeah, I don't know why. And I do really like the stuff with his dad for the most part. I like him standing up to his dad, kind of. I thought that was really well done. And I think that's probably the most development we've actually had for Nate since, I don't know, last season or season 2, maybe? Maybe season 2. Like, that's the last time I remember really feeling like his character grew in some way.
Was that when he got over his hemophilia?
Yeah, I think so.
By turning into metal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it sealed all the wounds.
Right.
I bleed metal now.
It increased the iron content in his blood, so it doesn't run as quickly.
Right. Yeah.
That sounds like some X-Men, what is it, 2 logic, where he's like, I've taken the iron from your blood and turned them into spheres. I'm like, I don't think that works that way, Ian.
Well, no, if you remember, though, they had been feeding him iron in his...
Right.
Yeah.
And then Mystique injected him with that big old needle, and you see his bare butt, which is just something we all needed to see, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Bryan Singer. Thanks.
Everybody's got their thing. Don't kink shame.
I mean, clearly his kinks are very wide. And
rumored on some of them. Rumored. No.
Right. Allegedly. Okay. Legends. Yeah.
Yeah. I did like this episode quite a bit because it talked about 2 big parts of Constantine's backstory in the comics,
that was the stuff that really got my attention, especially like he meets his mother at the bar, and Zari's like, hey, he's just like, yeah, that line's a real panty dropper, and he's like, it's me mom.
Yeah, that was really good.
Well, just the whole thing with his dad hating him for his mom dying.
Yeah, you could give birth to him. Right. I'm like, that's so petty and so mean.
And that's directly from the comics. And just the quick mention of mucous membrane, like that was the name of John's band back in the, back in the 70s, I guess, is when it was supposed to be, when Hellblazer first got started in the 80s. But time changes, so
yeah, it would probably be late 80s.
Great fucking reference then.
Now,
yes.
Yeah.
There's that stuff, but this whole thing kind of ends with them confronting a shapeshifter that Ray has been getting puppy dog. Can Ray stop getting puppy dog eyes?
Yeah, for evil girls. Also, he is a type at this point.
He does.
And it's a little bit creepy.
He's white knighting it, man.
It's like
he really
strictly
is.
Magic gives him a boner.
Well, yeah, and it's also like it's girls who don't like him but do bad things.
Girl just like walking up to him, pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and he's just like, "Oh,
yeah." It's like, as a man of science, I find this to be very erotic. But yeah, the whole thing kind of culminates with Constantine stripping this shapeshifter of her ability to shapeshift while she's taunting the legends, and her last form is Amaya, and now they have her on the ship. And moments after that, Nate is still at the Time Bureau, and he wants to sit behind a desk for a while, which, like, it's like, great, you just housed, you benched your tank. And then he's like, Amaya's not on the Wave Rider, so I think I am okay for now. He's like, but I'll stay behind a desk. And fucking Sarah's like, really?
Yeah. I hope it leads to something interesting. I think my feelings about this third episode will change depending on what happens in the next one.
Yeah, and the next episode needs to wrap this lingering thread up, because...
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to continue to see that very, very fake corgi tattoo that Ray has on his arm. That better continue to show up for the rest of the season, or I will be very disappointed.
Yeah, that henna artist is going to get a lot of work.
Like that photo perfect tattoo, which is not humanly possible.
I just like the idea that it's a fucking corgi.
Yeah, well,
because it fits Ray's character of being an absolute teddy bear.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon Routh, the world passed on you.
Poor guy.
Their mistake.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like he's super happy in his niche here. Like, he's in his niche. He's doing what he wants to do. He gets to play a superhero, but he also gets to be a goofball. And
I think with Brandon Routh, he has supermodel, like, movie star good looks, but comes off as the biggest dweeb. He doesn't exude badass like other people, like even like Cavill does, like Henry Cavill.
Right.
But I think he's still pretty damn charming and fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, that, and I believe he's a legitimate comic book fan, because I mean he did that Dylan Dog movie that's based on like an obscure Italian comic book. Like, that's not something you go into if you're like, yeah, this is going to be my rise to the top again. It's like, no, I want to do this because I really like this comic.
Yeah. It's always nice to see him. He's fantastic.
I think that's it for Legends.
Yeah. Also, this episode is shorter than our doing all of it in 1 week episode. Maybe this is the way to go from now on.
We have more room for tomfoolery now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Connor McGraw. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is finally out for Movie Dumpster, so that's the only plug I'm going to give before we launched into full-on November mode. So please enjoy that. It's been in the fucking oven for a long time.
My late afternoon commute will thank you. Let's see. What are my plugs? Less Horror Podcast every single week. We are taking the month off though. So look forward to us returning in December, and putting more movie-based discussion into your ear holes. So yeah, go do that.
Do the thing.
Go listen.
Do it.
Yeah, they have a bunch of back episodes featuring Connor and Hunter and Erik actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, go. Henceforth.
Do that shit.
Hunter, anything.
check out Monster Mash podcast every month. What was our last episode? It was Aliens, right?
Yeah, it's still our first episode. It's weird with a monthly show.
Yeah, it's weird. Go check that out. It's really good. We had Erik on that podcast and talked about aliens.
I mean, it sounds kind of easy. Just remember one thing, as opposed to trying to line up your own fucking archive in your head,
or watching 5 different shows in a week.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right.
Check that out. Yes, like you could not follow me anywhere on social media. And I'll know if you do. I think people think I'm joking when I say that. Yeah, don't follow me anywhere. That's it for me, really.
I'm Erik Fedorchak. You can find me at Erik_Fedor on Instagram. There will be pictures of dogs and cats and food and comics. I'm floating around the Phantom Zone.
You're letting everyone know you're a killbot. You can't.
My marrow supply is low. You'll find me floating around the Phantom Zone. Things to be talked about, things to be shown. I don't know. And hearing Hunter saying he knows when people follow him, that means I'm going to go start like 50 alt accounts on every social media thing that he's on and start following him.
I'll know.
Yeah, you will when you get a barrage of Big Dick 69XXX wants to follow you.
Who could this possibly be other than the man who directly threatened me with doing this? But Hunter's like dead serious. He's like, I truly have no idea.
I can't figure out who Ball Weight Lover is.
All these sound like SoundCloud rapper names.
They really do.
And they're all wanted for child molestation, too.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
right,
no. Okay. Bye. Fuck Bryan Singer. Bye.